Bringing you the news from here at home and across the world, this is Prime Time News coming to you live and direct from the Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. A very good evening. I'm Mahina Bongzo.
And I'm Nadim Majid. Hello and welcome. Let's start off with a look at the news making headlines tonight. The grand finale of Sirius Superstar Season 6 kicks off at Stein Studios. Unloading of refined fuel halted due to a fault in the pipeline carrying fuel to land. Media personnel obstructed during operations to capture 2 prisoners who escaped the Galle prison complex. Parents protest against politicians who participated in the opening of the Vijayaba Model Primary School in Mahawar.
Well, after weeks of anticipation and months of hard work, 3 individuals are within striking distance of winning 10 million rupees.
That's right, the grand finale of Sirius Superstar Season 6 is currently underway at Stein Studios in Ratmalana. Celebrities from all walks of life began gathering at the Stein Studios this evening for the gala event.
After months of fierce competition, Gayan Arosha from Maharagama, Tehani Imara from Dehiwala and Chandra Prasad from Nicolaratia took to the stage today to compete one last time for the coveted title of Sirius Superstar and a prize money of 10 million rupees.
වලාකුලේ ගැවසෙන දෙයෝ සත්පියුමන් පිට යන දෙයෝ ඇහෙනවනම් හිත හඬන තරම් කිසිවෙකු නෑලු හින හින්නේ ඇහෙනවනම් හිත හඬන තරම් කිසිවෙකු නෑලු හින හින්නේ
Well, what you just witnessed was footage from the grand finale of Sirius Superstar Season 6. Newsfirst Joel Outskoon is live at Stein Studios in Ratmalana and he'll be joining us later on in the bulletin with the very latest. On to other local news. 2 inmates who tried to escape from the Galle prison were arrested today. Prison spokesperson Tushar Opuldenia stated that the 2 suspects who were being temporarily detained attempted to escape in this manner.
According to the prison's Commissioner General, the inmates attempted to escape while they were on cleaning duty this morning. The prisoners were captured following an operation launched by prison officials. However, prison officials obstructed media personnel from covering the story.
Prisoners cannot escape from the prison's department. They cannot make such a statement. Any individual has to have the right to know if such an incident took place. We will take immediate action. We need to act with transparency. Why should we hide? I am sorry about what happened. Prison officials cannot behave in this manner. A prisoner escaping means that the prison's department has lost.
Several jail breaks were reported in the recent past. The main among these jail breaks was the escape of a drug smuggler.
The first cause is negligence. Clear instructions have been issued along with numerous circulars and ordinances. There is a law that should be followed in the prisons department. You cannot shy away from your duty saying that there were shortcomings in the hospital. This is the issue. We will take legal action against these individuals.
Initial investigations into the incident that occurred in close proximity to the Kottawa interchange on the Southern Expressway between Police Constable Suminder Saman and a Deputy Minister have proven that the police officer did not commit any wrong. Police media spokesperson SSP Ajit Rohana stated that investigations into this incident have concluded. Suminder Saman has already submitted his letter of resignation to the Sri Lanka police. A group of police officers arrived at the house of the constable last night.
According to Suminder Saman, a group of police officers, including the OIC of the Doramgoda police, arrived at his residence last night. He added that the police officers had visited his house twice yesterday.
At around 3:20 p.m., the OIC of Doramgoda and officers from the Minihana Special Investigations Unit arrived at my house in 2 jeeps and a nano car. They drove from my house to the scene of the incident. They returned at around 8:20 and the OIC of the Doramgoda police asked me to get into the car and drive. None of the officers were armed and my life is under threat, so I refused to accompany them. I have been threatened to withdraw the complaint that I filed.
OIC of the Doramgoda police, Lasantha Buddhika, speaking to Newsfirst, stated that they had visited Suminder's house for investigation purposes. He added that a cameraman and driver were in the car and the purpose of their visit was to ascertain the time taken to reach the location of the incident.
He was not threatened and the officers had no intention of abducting him. What took place was a legal investigation. They determined the time taken to travel to the location. I hope to reveal the full details of this investigation within 2 weeks.
මම බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා ඉදිරි සති දෙකක කාලය තුල සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම මේ රටේ ජනතාවට හෙළිදරව්වක් කිරීම සඳහා.
However, area residents state that they have their doubts about the incidents that unfolded yesterday.
This is the Kalutara South Police Division. We are suspicious as to why police from other divisions, especially from Doramgoda, arrive here to carry out investigations.
Former police constable Suminder Saman, who was attached to the motor traffic division of the Southern Expressway, was assaulted by a group of persons on the 30th of May while travelling to work from Dodangoda. A group that arrived in a cab had assaulted the police officer, torched his car and fled the scene. The incident took place a couple of days after he was involved in an incident with the Deputy Minister in close proximity to the Kottawa entrance of the Southern Expressway.
We call on the IGP to resolve Officer Suminder's issue in a fair manner. If he is wrong, prosecute him. If he is not guilty, then clear his name. Investigations into the incident are continuing. 2 incidents took place. The first one took place near the exit of the Southern Expressway. We have concluded investigations into this incident and we have concluded that the officer did not commit any wrong. There has been an exchange of words and the Deputy Minister's driver was issued a spot fine for speeding.
ඒ ගැන විමර්ශන කටයුතු අවසන්. පොලිස් කොස්තාපල්වරයා කිසිම ආකාරයක වරදක් සිදු කරලා නැහැ.
Newsfirst has received more amateur footage pertaining to the death of a youth in police fire recently in Barawawila Deulapitiya on the 23rd of June. The following footage contains graphic material and viewer discretion is advised.
Pelagan
Newsfirst also broadcast footage sent in by a U reporter pertaining to this incident. Following the airing of this footage, the police media spokesperson expressed these views.
මේ දර්ශනය ලබාගෙන තිබෙන්නේ අදාළ
Reports indicate that this footage was recorded about 8 minutes before the individual in question was shot. What the footage depicts is the police constable pointing his firearm at the suspect, indicating him to stop. However, the constable in this footage did not discharge his weapon at any time. He kept pointing the firearm at the suspect and moved forward. At one point, as he was moving towards the suspect had turned on the constable and stabbed him. When he attempted to stab the constable a second time, the police sergeant at the scene had shot at the suspect. This is the account of the sergeant and the constable. We hope to present this evidence to court.
ඉතින් මේ සාක්ෂි අධිකරණයේදී අපි මෙහෙයවීමට බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා.
එම සාක්ෂියම ප්‍රමාණවත් ගරු මහේස්ත්‍රාත්තුමාට මේ සම්බන්ධයෙන් සෑහීමටපත් වෙලා එමෙන්න පොලිසියලමයි.
This evidence is sufficient to satisfy the magistrate and in fact to satisfy the police before the magistrate to arrest this suspect and produce him in court. There are clear images which show how this incident unfolded. I think that this need not be said by me. The police media spokesperson should gather the evidence necessary for the police to present a just and fair case. And if this evidence is sufficient, as it clearly is, they must arrest the suspect and produce him in court.
කරු අත්අඩංගුවකට පැහැදිලි ප්‍රමාණත්වයක් තිබෙනවා. මෙම සාක්ෂිකරු මෙම සැකකරු අත්අඩංගුවටගෙන ගරු අධිකරණයට ඉදිරිපත්.
අපි හැමතිටම ඉල්ලලා හිටින්නේ කවුරු හෝ වේවා.
Our request has always been to implement the law against those who violate it. We saw an instance through the media where a traffic police officer shot at an individual. That police officer is yet to be arrested. We are witnessing a policy where people who violate the law are being safeguarded. A question arises as to why this is being done. A background has been created where the people who are supposed to safeguard the law are the ones who break it. This is also a time when the police stands aside and observes when others set fire to public property and commit murders. The police is not a division that stands aside and observes. The police officers, especially ones who occupy lower positions, are well aware of these things. When such incidents take place, we begin to wonder if an IGP is present. I don't know if he is commanding the police or whether someone else is.
දන්නේ එතුමාද මේ පොලිසියට මේ නියෝග දෙන්නේ නැත්නම් වෙන කවුද කියන එක.
Well, as we reported at the beginning of tonight's bulletin, the grand finale of Sirius's Superstar Season 6 is currently underway at Stein Studios in Ratmalana, with 3 contestants singing their hearts out for a chance to win the grand prize of 10 million rupees.
Yes, Newsfirst Joel Outscoon is at the Stein Studios and we cross over to him live for more of the very latest.
A very good evening to all of you. Well, Sirius Superstar Season 6, Sri Lanka's first and largest reality TV program, has made its way to the grand finale and is currently underway at Stein Studios here in Ratmalana. 3 contestants are battling it out to be the next voice of Sirius Superstar Season 6 amid thousands of applicants who intended to be the next voice of Season 6. Well, the crowd here at Stein Studios is impatiently waiting to see who will be crowned the 6th voice of Sirius Superstar. That's the latest here in Stein Studios in Ratmalana. Back to the studio, I'm Joel Outscoon reporting for Newsfirst from Stein Studios in Ratmalana.
Thank you, Joel, for that update.
Moving on to more local news, the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation notes that the unloading of refined fuel 2 has been suspended since early this morning owing to a fault in the pipeline system. Managing Director of CPETCO, Susanta De Silva, says repair work on the pipeline has already commenced. The unloading of crude oil has been halted since the 22nd of May owing to a fault that arose in the pipeline system used for this purpose. The refinery, which meets 1/3 of the country's fuel demand, has been shut down as a result. As a result, 100% of the national demand for fuel is being met through the importation of refined fuel. The unloading of refined fuel 2 has been suspended since this morning owing to a fault in the pipeline that carries the fuel from the sea to Muthurajawala.
We came to know this morning damage that had happened in the underboy hose at Muthurajawala, which used for unloading clean product, or otherwise if I say the refined product. And our divers have now investigated the situation and have identified that the bottom hose has been damaged. And at the moment, at this time, the action has been taken to replace this, and the divers are working, and we are prepared to put the replacement hose immediately. And the replacement hose also has been prepared and lined up till this the one which is damaged is removed. So we are thinking we may be able to put the situation back by tomorrow and restore the oil discharge immediately after that.
When the subject minister announced that profits were being made in the billions, the people of this country were happy and they thought fortune had smiled upon them and that fuel prices would be reduced. And then the crude oil buoy broke down, shattering all these hopes. Since then, hundreds of thousands of dollars or tens of millions of rupees have been paid as surcharges. Against this backdrop, the pipeline carrying refined oil has burst. On the other hand, the refinery too has been shut down. The corporation's money is being paid out to shipping companies. This is the people's money. The people have incurred tens of millions in losses as a result of the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation's inefficiency, management flaws, embezzlement, fraud, pipe leaks and hedging agreements. The losses of the CPC affect the person who pumps petrol, the person who pumps diesel and the person who doesn't pump anything as well. Some may think that this will only affect them if they pump diesel into their vehicles, because this is one of the largest loss-making institutions in the country. The people as a whole feel the effect of this. The price of bread is going up. The price of dal is going up. The people may not realize this at times. The COPE report noted that these pipes were on the verge of bursting, but nothing was done. Now the pipes have burst and there is no fuel. Crude oil cannot be imported either. I think we will run out of fuel in the near future.
Well, here's what's coming up on the Newsfirst International Desk. Tragedy strikes ahead of the Football World Cup quarterfinals as a flyover collapses in a Brazil World Cup host city, resulting in the death of 2. Details coming up later on the news.
Newsfirst is the most trusted news website in Sri Lanka, using a multi-platform responsive layout for a richer user experience. Our news reporting is verified, unbiased, balanced and fearless. We are Sri Lanka's most powerful social media network. Millions trust Newsfirst. That's why we are #1. Access our content on the web, Twitter, Facebook and YouTube. Newsfirst, your life, our news.
Taking a look at a story that Newsfirst has been following closely. Human rights lawyers say Australia's national reputation is at stake given the government's continued silence on the purported existence of two boats carrying at least 153 Sri Lankan Tamil asylum seekers, including 37 children, which were reportedly intercepted off the shores of Christmas Island last week. Now, Sarah White, immigration correspondent with the Sydney Morning Herald, has been in contact with Newsfirst with the latest developments on the ground in Australia. She joins us again this evening with the latest.
Tamil communities within Australia are becoming increasingly worried about the fate of these asylum seekers, particularly the ones who left India. There's been multiple reports on what actually they are fleeing from. The government is still not talking about it. That's part of their policy. They want it to remain secret. And like I said yesterday, they want it to remain secret so they cannot let the boat smugglers or the people smugglers know what the government is up to and how they're stopping the boats.
Human rights lawyer Julian Burnside, Queen's Counsel, says the Australian government should stop giving the people the mushroom treatment.
If we have handed them back to the Sri Lankan Navy, there is no doubt that we are breaching our central obligation under the Refugees Convention. International human rights conventions aren't easily enforceable. What we need to do is just stand back as a country and say, well, look, do we really want to be seen by the rest of the world as being nastier than the Taliban or nastier than the South African government used to be? This is our national reputation that's at stake, and I think we shouldn't be given the mushroom treatment.
Meanwhile, responding to inquiries made by Newsfirst via email, Gordon Thompson, the president of the Christmas Island Shire Council, says that while he is unaware of whether the asylum seekers had been handed over to the Sri Lankan Navy, noted that people who worked with asylum seekers on Christmas Island had stated the same. He adds that the Australian government is playing political games by not answering these questions.
The very serious problem that we have in Australia is that the coalition government is using its power, its access to the Australian Navy and the resources it has to inflict this enormous cruelty that many people are likening to war crimes. This latest incident that is so extreme is escalating the situation in this country, and we certainly need to work it out in Parliament and the wider community. We are working hard to muster support in the federal Parliament, so next week when Parliament resumes there will be a vote and we can condemn this government.
Newsfirst contacted the Sri Lankan Navy once again regarding reports that the asylum seekers had been turned over to the Navy. Commander Kosala Warnakula Surya, the Navy media spokesperson, informed us that the Navy had not been issued any directive regarding such asylum seekers. He added that it is the Ministry of External Affairs or the Australian High Commission that should provide a comment on this matter. When contacted by Newsfirst, a spokesperson attached to the Ministry of External Affairs said that though there was media speculation on such a boat carrying 153 Sri Lankan asylum seekers, the ministry is not aware of the existence of such a boat. Our efforts to contact the Australian High Commission for a reaction in this regard proved futile. 7 days have lapsed since the last known contact with the asylum seekers. We report, you decide.
Still on local news, 2 protests were staged in Kandy and Mahawar today.
A protest was staged by a resident of Kaduga Nava in the centre of the Kandy town. The individual who protested over a personal reason staged the demonstration by standing atop of a motor vehicle. Vehicular traffic was disrupted as a result of the protest. The officers of the Kandy Police Motor Traffic Division took steps to remove the protester from the main road. A group of parents staged a demonstration against Minister of Culture and Arts Affairs T.B. Ekanayaka, who arrived at the opening ceremony of the Wumahava Vijayaba Model Primary School. The ceremony saw the participation of many provincial councillors as well as local politicians. The minister, who paid no heed to the protesters, declared open the plaque bearing the school name.
There has been opposition over the years. Many people have showed their protest against separating the school. We demand that the school be developed along with the Vijayabha Primary School. We saw the minister not paying attention to the demands and supporting the national school. The school was opened today arbitrarily without the consent of the School Development Committee. This is the permission letter bearing the seal. These are childish stories. We don't have to separate these schools with a wall. They are two neighbouring schools. After finishing their grade 5 education, students can transfer to the Mahindodev school from the Vijayabha Primary School. We are dismayed by statements which paints a false picture about the real situation on the ground.
These are the visuals of the plaque that was declared open by the minister following the official ceremony.
President Mahinda Rajapaksa says extremists are doing an injustice to their own religions. The president made this statement at an event held to declare open the renovated Methodist Church in the Golf Fort this morning.
The presidential media unit notes that the Methodist Church at the Golf Fort was renovated by the Sri Lankan Navy under the guidance of President Mahinda Rajapaksa in lieu of the bicentennial of the Methodist Church in Sri Lanka.
People who follow their religions properly must be just and law-abiding. We see people who condemn other people's religions as persons who are doing an injustice to their own teachings. It is akin to denigrating our own religion. There is no need for us to be extremists. I believe that when you become an extremist, your own religion will not receive justice.
Following the opening of the church, a special mass was held during which the president was blessed.
Well, that's it from all of us here at the Newsfirst desk. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Mahina Bongzo.
And I'm Nadim Majid. Just a reminder that you can keep abreast of all the stories we're following here at Newsfirst by visiting our website newsfirst.lk. Have a pleasant weekend ahead. Good night and good luck.